In this video, I will tell you about some of the basic ways to create formulae and use functions in Excel. These are skills that will allow you to use spreadsheets to make certain tasks easier. We'll start with computing basic arithmetic in Excel. In Excel, addition uses the plus symbol in order to show addition. To add two numbers, you can start by typing a formula into a cell, and Excel will compute it for you. To type a formula, start by typing an equal sign. Follow this with your mathematical expression, for example, 17 plus 6, and press enter. Excel now shows the solution to this expression in the cell. If you click on the cell, you can still view the expression that is being solved up in the formula bar. If you want to change the formula, you can either click into the formula bar and edit it, or double-click in the cell and edit it there. Once you change it, the cell will update with the new expression. Excel can also perform other arithmetic operations you commonly use. For subtraction, Excel uses the minus symbol. It works just like addition, where you start with an equal sign, type in your expression, and hit enter. Multiplication is done in Excel using an asterisk. This symbol can be found on the same key as the numeral 8 on your keyboard, or on your number pad above the number 9. Like the other operators, we can simply type our operation, like 3 times 4, and the solution will appear. For division, we use the /. This symbol can be found on the same key as the question mark on your keyboard. You can also find it on your number pad above the number 8. Like the other operators, we just type in an example, equals 16 divided by 2, and it'll show us the answer. To write an exponent, like 3 to the power of 4, you can use the caret symbol. This symbol can be found on the same key as the numeral 6 on your keyboard. So we can see if we do 3 to the power of 4, we get 81, which is the same as going equals 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. These examples show that Excel is able to do simple math, but the real power of spreadsheet comes when you start using references to other cells. In this example, 5 friends have counted the number of pens, pencils, and markers that they each have. They want to use a spreadsheet to keep track of how many total writing utensils each person has. They could use Excel as a calculator and start writing a formula to add up Phil's writing implements, equals 2 plus 2 plus 4. But if Phil loses a pencil, and it goes down to 1, the formula doesn't update, and his spreadsheet is now inaccurate. Instead of putting literal numbers into the formula, cell references can be used so that the spreadsheet updates automatically. Phil's total is going to be the value in B3 plus the value in C3 plus the value in D3. To input these cell references, you can either click on the cell itself, type in the cell reference that you want, or use the arrow keys to select the cell. Now if I update the number of pencils, the total automatically updates. The next thing we want to do is put in the formula for Debbie. The formula is going to be almost the exact same as the one we used for Phil. Instead of B3 plus C3 plus D3, it's going to be B4 plus C4 plus D4. Now, rather than typing in this formula again, Excel allows you to adapt the formula by copying the formula into other cells. You can do this in one of 3 ways. You can press Control C and copy, and Control V to paste the formula into another cell. Or you can drag the formula down by clicking on the fill handle. Notice that the cursor turns into a black cross, and dragging down to fill the cells that you want to have the same function in. Or lastly, you could select the entire range that you want to have the formula and press Control D. This copies the formula from the top cell down through and fills the entire range. Now, if we look at the formulas that Excel has filled in, you notice that it always refers to the 3 cells that are directly to the left of the cell that contains the formula. This is why we call this type of cell reference a relative cell reference, because the location is relative to the cell that the formula is in. In addition to simple mathematical expressions, Excel can perform more complex arithmetic. When you're putting these formulas in, it's important to think about the order of operations and use appropriate parentheses to ensure that it is calculated correctly. In this example, we need to add the 2 and the 3 before we multiply them by the 7. Because this is a fraction, we also need to add the 4 and the 1 before we divide the numerator by this denominator. So in this case, we're going to go equals 7 times, open parenthesis, 2 plus 3, divided by, open parenthesis, 4 plus 1. And click enter. In this example, you might want to add another set of parentheses around the numerator also if you're unsure about how the order of operations is going to work. Notice that you should only use round parentheses in math expressions in Excel. For more complex problems, Excel has a vast library of functions that perform a wide range of tasks. These can be found under the Formulas tab on the ribbon. You can also click on the Insert Function button beside the formula bar, and Excel will walk you through inserting a function. In this example, we want to find the average, maximum, and minimum of a student's grades. We're going to use specific functions to determine the values for us. To insert a function, you click on a cell and type in an equal sign and start to type in the name of the function. In this case, we want to use the average function. As I start to type, Excel provides suggestions. If I see the formula that I want, I can go down and double click on it, and Excel will finish the function for us. If I'm not sure exactly which function I want to use, I can also use the arrow keys to go through, and Excel shows me a quick description of what each function does. Once I find the function that I want, I can click Tab, and Excel will finish the function for me. At this point, I need to input the arguments of the function. The arguments that you need will be different depending what function you use. Fortunately, Excel reminds you what you need to input. In this case, we can see that it's numbers. We can either select the cells one at a time, putting a comma in between each entry, or we can select all of the cells at once and input a range of cells. Notice that Excel puts a colon in between the first cell and the last cell to show that this is a range of cells. The last thing I do is close the parentheses for the function and hit enter. For maximum, let's try using the Insert Formula button. When I search for maximum, we can go through the search results and take a look at the description to see whether it matches what we want to do. When we click OK, we get a dialog box that helps us pick out our arguments. It gives a description of what each argument is, and it'll give us a preview of what that includes once we have something selected. In this case, you can see that it already recommended B2 to B7, but when we look at our preview, we see that includes the 84, 82, 79, 90, 88, and 84.6. We don't want the average included in the maximum calculation, so let's pick a new range. If we click on this button, we can go into our spreadsheet and select the cells that we want, making sure to delete anything that was already in the arguments. We click enter, and we can see that it shows us what the answer will be if this is the case, 90. We can confirm and make sure that's correct, and click OK. For our last function, I'm going to show you how you can just type the entire function in by hand without using any of Excel's assistance. So it's a minimum function, so it's going to be equals min, open parentheses, and it's the range from B2 colon B6. End parenthesis and enter. In this video, I showed you the different symbols used in Excel to create formulas using addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and exponentiation. I showed you how to use cell references so that your formulas will automatically update when you change values in your table, how to use parentheses to ensure the correct order of operations, and how to find and use functions to complete more complex tasks.